You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Orange is the New Black After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Orange is the New Black After Show.
Animal, the animal. And everyone's saying
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, AfterBuzzers. Welcome to episode 6 of Netflix original series Orange is the New Black, WAC Pack. I'm your host, Thaddeus Massey, and joining me today is...
Hi guys, I'm McKay. I'm Megan Thomas.
I'm Scott Moore.
And yes, we are a loony bunch, and we do not mind.
That was great.
You guys, that was awesome.
I love the ending.
Our singing is getting better.
We are
on the road.
That's the best one. Just to talk about this song for like 10 seconds, I feel like this is a song Johnny Cash would have sung like back in the day. I'm like listening to you guys, I'm like, just Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll compare myself to Johnny Cash, sure.
Johnny Cash.
Yes.
Not that you sounded like Johnny Cash. That's a mistake. It was sounding like Johnny Cash.
Hater over there. Hater.
Just vibe-wise. Anyway, okay, so this whack is kind of whack, I think, is really funny. The Women's Advisory Council situation is really funny because it's kind of how politics works in real life.
Give you a choice.
If you guys
to make you think you have a choice.
Right, exactly. Okay, you can either take a bath before dinner or after dinner. Which one's going to be? Right. I love how Healy used that analogy.
Right.
Because it's basically you're taking a bath.
Oh yeah.
Kind of thing. You're going to do what we tell you to do. It's just a matter of do you want to do it now or in 5 minutes?
Right.
Kind of scenario. And we saw how corrupt it was. It was so completely corrupt.
Right.
And, and it was funny how they showed, I guess it was the rec room, where they showed the women arguing with people from their own tribe, as Morello calls it, the tribes. So everybody's like arguing within themselves, and it's like it's infighting. And I love how the episode opens up. We'll talk about prisonpoon.com in a minute. I know you guys are waiting to get to prisonpoon.com, you pervs. You guys are talking about prison poon. Anyway, so you have Healy coming to work, and Healy is like, it's like one of those days you go to work and you're like, I do not want to go to work today.
I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I do not want to be here. And he is literally like losing his mind right there on the spot.
Right.
He's walking down the hallway like dreading going to work this day. And everybody, every like 10 seconds is hitting him with issues about everything, capped off with crazy eyes, like I think I got the flu looking down her pants.
Yeah.
I think I got the flu.
Oh my gosh.
What is her
I was
deal?
like, how do you get the flu down there?
Right.
Oh, you don't want to know, honey.
And his eyes, Healy's eyes just, so he goes in the office, and then what happened when he went in the office? He goes in the office, Tasty comes in there because she hits him. He just like, look, you have TV control, just take
leave
it.
me alone.
Leave me alone for 24 hours. No, 48 hours. So it's like, just leave me alone. Okay, so that's an awesome segue to go into my 3 questions for this episode. The first question being, how do I want to word this? Can being surrounded by, I know this is not grammatically correct, by crazy on a regular basis make you crazy? That's one. That's the first question. And the second question is, are Healy and Piper alike? I think there's some more likenesses based on the craziness that's going on with the scenarios that they both have to deal with. And the third question is, Does Morello represent a majority or a minority of regular civilian life in America? Those are the three questions.
Which one do we start with?
Let's
First.
start with being surrounded by crazy on a regular basis.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Can it make you crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, wears you down. Yeah.
Because he's losing his
Marbles.
marbles for real. And I probably would have lost mine a long time ago, too. I was like, look, I just want to stay in the hallway.
Yeah,
That's why
I
he
don't
stays in
want to
his
do that.
office and doesn't really get out much.
But
I think
everybody's
because
always
he-
knocking on his door, like coming and
Right.
bugging him with issues, like
But
constantly. It's like,
he's like, okay, here,
Yeah,
have a
but-
candy,
yeah.
have the control, now go.
And leave me alone, close the door. Like, yeah,
Right.
it's kind of how he handles it. At least he has more of a able to deal with it by closing the door and being away from
I
all
don't
that.
know though, because once he leaves, we don't know what happens once he leaves these
The
prison
actual
walls.
job. I know, that's what we're still gonna find out.
Yeah, something else has gone on. Especially we find out that he's married this episode.
right.
And I think in the past episodes we predicted that it was because like he is so against lesbians because his wife left him for a lesbian or something.
Right.
And so we find that he's married. Is it a happy marriage? We don't know. He's got this blue and this red dress that he's putting on Piper to, which is very weird.
That
by
was
the way.
weird. I thought
Okay,
the whole
no,
thing
no,
was
no.
bizarre.
Creepy.
Let's
So,
talk about the blue,
crazy.
the red and blue dress.
No, I think that was a way for him to try to get himself up to Piper's level. If you guys look at it, it's a Calvin Klein dress.
Yeah.
She's talking about Barney's.
See, I didn't
He
even-
has to.
Of course, you would know.
Yeah, you guys know. I took it as
Okay.
it was for her, like seeing what it would be like on her and not dealing with the wife.
I
Is how I
really
took
think
it.
it was for the wife, but
Oh, I
he's
didn't
trying.
take it as
He's
that.
trying to win Piper over to show that. Oh, look, you have a fiance, I have a wife, but we could still be alike.
Oh yeah,
But that's creepy. Like,
yeah, it
why?
was still
Why
creepy.
do we
That's
need
why I
to
thought
be
it was for
alike? Are you
her.
trying to like have sex with her? Like, what is? That's
But
what
he
I'm
says
saying.
it in the episode, like, we don't get many girls like you.
So is he trying to smash? I mean, like, is he like a man? Any other man? He just wants to smash at the end of the day.
As
Like,
we
what?
said, we don't know what's going on at home. So maybe he needs someone
needs a
to
friend.
talk to. He needs.
yeah.
A prison poon friend.
He's like, so look, I'm gonna give you this phone. I want you to sit. No, but I just think it was weird. Like, you see Piper's face when he pulled the
Yeah,
dresses. She's like she was about to be attacked or something.
Yeah, it was
like,
creepy.
It was creepy. I was even
weird.
like,
It was
what is he
uncomfortable.
doing?
You brought your wife's dresses from home to work.
Yeah.
Well, it was
No,
less
he bought
creepy.
it for her. He wanted to get her opinion.
He bought it for
He bought her a dress and he wanted to get her opinion.
Okay. Because I didn't see any tags. That's why I was like, okay, are these her dresses he took out of her closet?
No, he says that he bought it for her and he wants Piper's opinion, which one he
one?
should give her.
All right.
The red or the blue.
Right.
So weird to me. I don't know.
That is
the
very
whole
weird.
thing.
It was weird. And I thought about red or blue pill. I thought about Matrix and that came with the red and blue
I
dress.
thought
It was
about
like weird.
well, because they're wasps, I was like, is this Democrat, Republican? Like,
That's a really good one.
That is
wow.
and then he says blue, right?
She says blue.
She says blue.
Okay, yes.
She picked the blue
Nice
one.
pick.
Yes, which would be technically Democrats. If you look
Right,
at it from
right.
a political perspective.
Yeah.
Which makes
That's a
sense.
good one. Wow.
Which makes sense with
She's liberal.
Right, she is
Yeah.
liberal.
Yeah.
And
But,
with this whole episode too of being a political kind of thing so that would totally make
Right.
sense. That was really good. Wow.
I like how they did a little backstory with Piper as far as how she met Alex this episode. And how the beginnings of their relationship and how they met or whatever.
But not how they met, because
Yeah,
they'd already-
we saw that.
we saw
few
that,
episodes.
yeah.
We
This-
did,
How
we
this is,
did.
I guess, at the beginning, like I said,
Of their
first started
relationship.
dating. Yeah.
Right. Or I guess it was still in the beginning because I think Polly had just met her.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what it
That's
was.
what it was.
Polly had met her.
Polly had met her.
Molly, or what else did you call it?
Polly.
Polly.
Yeah.
It's Polly with a P. Yeah, but I liked how they broke down how she didn't like her.
Right.
You know, she didn't like Alex. And it was like, sometimes you need to listen to your friends, sometimes, because she gave her like a warning. It was like all the signs were there, kind of, sort of. I think that was just like an example of all the signs were there. Because I'm not sure if they've revealed a bunch of signs that Alex, like, that Piper should not be dating Alex.
Yeah.
But I think that was like a clear indication that her best friend is telling her, like, look.
Yeah.
She's like, do you have a problem that she's
A woman.
a woman, blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, I have a problem that she's an asshole,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't like her as a person. It has nothing to do with that. And Polly obviously has, you know, it's obvious. It was about her. It was like a clashing of a personality thing.
Right.
Had nothing to do with sexuality. Had nothing to do with anything else but the fact that I think she just didn't like her as an individual.
But plus, she makes comments like she's 30 and she's a heroin dealer, drug dealer.
Right.
What are you doing being with her?
No, because she doesn't say she's a drug dealer, right? I thought Polly said she's just 30 and she's loaded. She's got a ton of money, so I didn't think
She did say that.
she didn't know that. She doesn't know what Alex's profession is.
But she did. The thing was,
Because she said something about her being an importer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but not
whatever
with
it
drugs.
was. Yeah.
but it was like, you know, it's like when you have that girlfriend and then she's dating a guy who suspiciously has money, obviously doesn't come from money, and it's kind of like, what does he do? It's like, oh, he has his own business.
He's an importer.
This is doing what?
Yeah.
He and
Pharmaceuticals.
Right. So obviously, it was fishy.
Yeah.
It was fishy to her. She was like, "This is
the red flags were going
Right.
up.
Exactly. So I mean, she got herself into this situation, Piper. I think this was more of an indication of how, like, look, you can't go around blaming everybody. You decided to be involved with this girl.
Yes.
And you need to take responsibility and own up for your own actions. This was something that, regardless if it was 10 years ago, you need to own up for it. Own up to this. You know, Emily wants to say something.
Well, yeah, no. I was just gonna say. I mean, but I could understand Piper's perspective on on Polly thinking, oh, it's because she's a woman, or like I can see like,
Right.
oh, it's the best friend, like coming up with the excuse.
Right.
So I could see when that whole thing was going down, why she kind of felt the way she did too.
And then she also said that Polly slept with her adjunct professor.
The adjunct
She's
professor,
like,
yeah.
adjunct professor.
Yes.
Either way, so that's kind of like, as your friend, you're like, well, I can't really listen to you, best friend, because you kind of did something fishy too. So your barometer for morality's off.
But then she's actually validating the fact that what she's doing with Alex is as wrong as what Polly did with the professor.
That's true. So it still doesn't make it good either way.
No.
Piper always has an excuse for everything,
Right.
but what makes it worse is that she always tries to bring other people's faults into it as well. It's like, no, it's about you. It's not about me.
But
Yeah.
I can appreciate, though, at this episode, we see that Piper finally takes responsibility when she has that conversation with her mom. And, she says that, it's my fault. I'm here because it's my fault. Not because anybody put me here, but it's my fault.
But I think she's only saying that to get rid of her mom because she hates talking to her mom.
I know. I don't know. I feel it. When
I don't think she genuinely meant that,
I
because
felt like
right
she
after
did.
that,
I did
no,
too.
she didn't,
You don't
because
think
right
so?
after when she gets out and she's talking to Nicole, and Nicole is telling her, you need to be grateful for what you have. Your mom comes and visits you. We don't have that.
But I think the
'cause she
reason,
was
but I still,
complaining.
I still feel like she felt like she was. Now she's one of the inmates. Like people don't understand us type of thing. And then Nikki has to check her and be like, "Hold on, wait a minute. You're not like us.
Right.
You're not like us. You have a mom who loves you. And so I feel like in Piper's, starting to get sucked in. But at least she says that to her. She's like, "No, I'm here because of what I did. Like I literally am here."
But I think she's only saying that because her and her mom always go head to head and they're butting heads, and she always has to be, they can't have the same viewpoint. So I feel like she always has to be on the opposite side of her mom, which is why she says that. But she doesn't really mean it, and I don't think it's sunk in yet.
It's very interesting. You know what's funny? I think that's the bridge for Nikki that bridges her, because it seems like her story is, and then we go into her backstory a little bit. It's somewhat it's tragic, but she comes from a privileged background at the same time.
Yes.
So her privileged background is very similar to the privileged background that Piper had, except her family's in disarray. Obviously, she has mother issues or whatever. And when they're standing outside of the visitation room, and she's talking about, everybody has their shit. And she says some people's shit smells worse than others.
Yep.
And she smells her, and she said, that smells like, your shit smells like Shalimar. Right.
And the fact that she said that let me know, like, okay, she comes from a different cloth, because the fact that you know what Shalimar is, Nikki, means you might be waspy yourself. But
Well, she comes from that background.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so
she
when they
comes
show
from
the
that.
flashback, I was like, okay, then it makes sense now.
Yeah.
Like, you really do come from that kind of background. But unfortunately, you know, they don't say what happened to her dad. Her dad's not there. Her mom's with the
Not in the
lover in a
picture.
different apartment. She's
Right.
raised by her nanny. I think it's a lot of rich kids have a similar story.
Right. I think they have a few other indications, like in a couple other episodes, but they're like really subtle. But they probably just brought that out because
like
of.
Morella with the Bora Bora Bora. She's like, you've traveled the world. You know how
Right.
it is.
Right. It's the little things like how she responds and corrects people or says certain things. You
Yeah.
like know her that she probably comes from a similar background as Piper,
Right.
except she was just a junkie. She got caught up in the drugs.
Yeah,
and
and took a different path.
Exactly. And it had a lot to do, I'm sure, with her mommy issues.
Right.
And that segues into her relationship with Red, because Red has, I think they didn't do a backstory flashback with her and Red.
I guess when she first got there, she was going through withdrawal from the drugs, and Red was there to help her get through that.
Yeah, and she calls her mommy.
Kind
You
of
know.
thinks of her as that mother figure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is why I don't know. I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, because, you know, obviously when you don't have love, you look for it in all the wrong places. And so in prison, you know, Red's like her mom, and she lets Red get away with stuff that other people can't get away with when it comes to Nikki. You know, the fact that she like hit her and she just kind of
Yeah, it seems like she'd take anybody else's head off.
right,
Like, it's like,
but not Red's.
right. But because, you know, but Red is,
All she wanted was a hug, and Red gave her a hug.
right.
And her mom wouldn't. That was cold though. But when she was in the
A hug,
Yeah.
a sip of
I mean, the
water,
hotel, the hospital room.
Hospital, yeah.
Yeah, and that's
awful.
it. And her mom was just left.
Yeah.
Like, you can hug her. You can hold her hand for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And she was like, I thought you were dead. What does that got to do with you still? And she's like, you
know, that was
know,
terrible.
it's so funny because it's like in so many ways, based on that conversation, you could see that Nikki was much more mature than her mother in certain like aspects, like psychologically and emotionally, but at the same time she wasn't, because it's like, you're the mom.
Right.
It was like, be a mother maybe? It's like, what do you want from me? I'm like, be a mom.
Right.
Give me a hug, sip of water.
Some people aren't meant to be moms.
It was like,
Aida's not meant to be a mom. Nikki's mom not meant to be a mom. There's just some women who probably shouldn't have kids. Just saying.
Very true. Shown that right there.
And speaking about Aleida, she got the snot slapped out of her this episode
As she rightly should have.
She deserved it.
Boom.
because she was being a trifling little.
Trying to get cracking
Hizzo.
with Bennett.
Yeah, that was, yeah. And I guess it is a small place because they didn't find out. I mean, she's obviously been there longer and she's
Yeah.
older. She has a little more seniority as far as just how the stuff works on the yard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And Daya found out.
Well, I think Bennett told her. How else would she have found out?
Did they?
They never said it. But I took that Bennett told her, and from that, maybe he really didn't have sex with her mother. Because, you know, the last episode we said, do you think that he had sex with her mom or not? And I think from this episode, I don't think he did, because he must have told Daya what happened. And if he did have sex with her mom, he probably wouldn't have mentioned it. Or he probably would have just been like, sorry.
But why? But she, okay, well, when they cut that scene, she dropped her robe and turned the light off, right?
Right.
And then they cut the scene.
Right.
Yeah.
And Bennett looked like a deer in headlights. Like, she was running that situation, and he was not going to say no.
Well, that's his future mother-in-law.
But I don't know. That's what I'm saying. We don't know.
Yeah.
Up to this point, we don't know who said what. But I'm just saying, who else would have said something? Because
Unless-
she's not down with the mommies, the Spanish mommies.
Marissa, what do you think?
Dia's
I
not
don't know what
down
you
with the
think about
Spanish
this.
mommies.
Yeah. Unless,
What do I think about Daya?
Do you think that Bennett actually hooked up with Aleida in the closet?
No.
You don't think so?
so either.
I think he has true feelings for Daya, and he wouldn't do that to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he did either. But who told?
Plus,
That's
he
what I'm
said
saying.
Told her.
that
It couldn't have
the
been the
person
Spanish
he really
mommies.
wants is Daya.
Right.
I think Bennett tells her.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying. Yeah.
That's why I think he didn't
He
do it
went and
with
told her.
her.
I think the place is just that small where she just found out. Like it
Like
was
that's what I'm
leaked.
saying, but
It was
who?
leaked out.
Because then, see, if
It's
other people,
jeopardizing Bennett.
That's what I'm saying. That it
Mm-hmm.
jeopardizes his career. So if other people know, that's not good for him. So I don't think that any of the other inmates told her. I think he told her. The women.
Okay.
Yes.
Because they passed notes to one another, so I'm sure, he didn't verbally have to say it. He could have written it down somewhere.
Oh, I don't think he would have written it down.
Well, they write other stuff
That's what I'm saying.
down.
I think it was. He probably told her, "I'll meet you in such and such. We need to talk."
Yeah.
You know, it's something like that. I don't think because that's risky to write that down. You know.
It is risky.
It is.
Well, let us know what you guys think. You guys can call us at 424-256-1729, 424-256-1729. Let us know whether you think Bennett actually told her or whether they actually hooked up in the room or Bennett's lying about it. It might come out in season 2 or later this season or whenever. Just let us know. Because I'm not sure.
Yeah, and go to iTunes. Make sure you subscribe. Give us 5 stars. Let us know what you think. Right on there, we actually do read your comments, and we'll shout you out.
Do. And while we're at that too, we want to be able to talk about Serial Buddies too. We don't want to forget about that.
Serial Buddies, hilarious.
Helps keep the light on here. The lights. Shouldn't say light on. There's multiple lights in here. I can't think.
Light on.
Very bright.
It's just a great cast. It's hilarious, and it supports us. It's only $4.99 to rent and $5.99 to own. So go check it out. It's a perfect summer flick to enjoy and relax, and it helps everybody out here.
Yeah, iTunes or serialbuddies.com.
Serial Buddies is funny.
It is.
Serial Buddies.
We're all
And that's
in
not
it.
cereal like C-E.
No, that's what I thought it was at first, though. I have to
It's-
admit, when I
right.
first did, I thought it was cereal like breakfast. I'm so dumb.
Lucky Charms.
You're funny. Okay, so Piper tries to warm up to Alex now because now she thinks she was being.
See what you did, Larry? See?
Right?
Hit yourself
Larry
over the
just
head.
told her the
Exactly.
truth. So now she's gonna. It looks like she's gonna might be fall back into the Alex trap because
Right.
now she has all this guilt and remorse about being mean. It was like, man, I ended up here and she didn't even dime me out.
Well, ultimately, she's like a kid who wants to fit in, even though she comes from that, rich and upper class society. Piper is the one that likes to fit in. She hasn't been alone. She hasn't experienced that. So now that Alex is, getting close, and you see her hanging out with the same people, and she just wants to kiss ass to her to fit in again.
I don't know. I think it's really like. I think she still has a soft spot for Alex. You know what I
Well,
mean?
also
Well, that's
she
a
doesn't-
parent.
Definitely.
She doesn't really have anybody
Right.
in there either. She's kind of alone. She's kind of just fitting in, getting
Yeah.
in where
She's
she
kind of
fits
getting
in,
by,
getting
just getting by, and she's sort of like the island. That's how I kind of look
Right.
at it, as compared to
Right.
everyone else with their cliques and their groups.
Exactly.
Right. So you have a natural propensity to want to be with somebody that knows you
She
intimately, who
knows.
knows a lot about your life and a lot about who you are in a place that's so foreign. So, yeah, Larry, you just pushed her into Alex's arms. Good
Right.
job.
Larry. No,
So that
smart
answers
guy.
your question.
While he's practicing the art of edging and not coming.
Right.
Larry, you gotta come, Larry.
That was great with the mom. That was from the last episode, but that was great. When mom's like, "You're gonna get all stopped up."
Right, that is so funny.
You gotta appreciate a mom who encourages her son to explode from time to time. Okay, so he goes to his publisher or whatever to discuss this piece about edging because he needs to come up with some kind of subject matter and it has to apply to his life in some kind of way. So
Right.
let's talk about edging. I want to write about edging, and then that actually turns into Life Behind Bars.
My wife is in prison, which
Yeah.
is, to me, that's a no-brainer. Like, that's a really good story.
Yeah.
You should,
Right.
but sometimes when you're in the middle of your mess, you can't take a non-biased look at it because you're in it. And so when his editor tells him that, that's genius. Like, that's actually an awesome story. I am dating somebody behind bars. What do I do? But of course,
Yeah,
it's
how do
very
you get by?
intimate and very, that is something. I think he's going to still write it, though.
He
Even
can
if
still-
Piper
I think
says
he's
no.
shameful of it, so that's why he probably hasn't
Right.
thought about it.
I mean,
he doesn't want to.
yeah.
Even though he supports her and he's there for her, he's ashamed of it.
I think he should change names, like in the story, or he should just write a story about somebody that he knows is fiance. Because even her family says that she's in Africa.
That's what I say. It would take away her whole
Yeah, you can make
story
it
there where
anonymous.
she is.
And he can include edging.
Right.
As a result
of
I
having to
edge.
wait. I
Explain
edge.
what edging is.
Love it.
It's like this perfect segue into edging.
Yeah.
It's like, I like
Right.
buying bars. And,
Yeah, it was funny when the editor's like, "There's no point. Like, what's the point of that?"
I'm extremely religious. I feel I'll be cheating on my girlfriend if I come without her present. So I edge. That's what I do. Okay.
That does sound like a religious thing, though. You know,
Right.
something like to really.
Right, to hold off. Yeah. It's like, no. Okay.
That is really weird. Did anybody look that
fasting.
up? Is that
and-
real?
I know, that's what I was like, that term.
Coming from her brother, I don't even believe
I don't
anything is real.
It sounds like something he made up.
It does, because that whole term, it's
He's
like.
weird.
Anytime I hear anything about edging, I think about the barbershop.
Yeah.
When you get edged up, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
When you get edged, that's.
I'm not gonna lie. I did look up prisonpoon.com to see if it was real.
Oh my
I just
God.
want to see if it's real.
Of course you did,
I
Megan.
mean, no, it's not real though. By the way, it's just like some
And you were so
random page.
disappointed.
I was so disappointed. Now I really was just like, hold on, wait a minute, is this real? So I had to look up.
What's the name of the warden's assistant? I love how she comes in and like emasculates.
Figueroa.
It's Figueroa. How
Yeah.
she comes
Oh, yeah.
in. She comes in completely emasculates Caputo.
In like 2
Right.
seconds,
Like
and
2
then
seconds.
leaves.
It makes him feel like. I mean, I'm watching her. I'm like, dude, if I'm him, I'm like crawling into a shell and like rolling down a hill and going
Right.
away somewhere. Like this dude, I feel so bad for him because she's berating him like
Right.
he's nobody in a matter of like 2 seconds, like God said, like 2 seconds comes in and then she's out and bounces.
To answer your question,
Yeah.
edging is a real word. It's called orgasm control.
Wow.
Oh, that's so sad.
So,
So if you guys, yes, the more you know.
Well, I just learned
Edging.
something new today. Just to make it official.
Orgasm control.
that sounds better.
It does.
It does. It sounds like an actual. Well, it is. It's an actual thing. And if you guys have problems prematurely,
Also known
whatever,
as
you guys should
peeking or surfing.
practice.
Oh, you know, I think I have heard that before.
Peeking or surfing. I've heard of surfing, but not
That way.
not that way. Not in regards to ejaculation.
But speaking of
or
Figueroa,
orgasm.
I want to see who the warden is. I want to see because if she's his right hand man.
Who, the warden?
Yeah. But then, you know, Caputo makes he says something about him, you know, being like what he does in his own time is his own business. So I'm like, okay, is he like what does a warden look like? Is he when you made that comment, I'm like, okay, are you insinuating that he's gay and that he acts gay? Is he quote unquote acts gay? Or is he like a man's man? Because Figueroa is a man woman.
Yeah,
like she's
right.
like so like masculine, not that she looks masculine, but her
No, but just her
demeanor
demeanor and very assertive. Yeah,
aggressive.
yeah.
So I'm like, I want to meet the warden. I want to see what he looks like.
I do too. I just wonder if it's gonna be like a thing sort of where you just never meet him. He's just
an ominous
an ominous figure that
Right.
everyone kind of is scared of and wondering who it is, but you never actually meet him. That's why you see her, and that's why she comes in and kind of deal with all the
It's so interesting.
day-to-day stuff. It just feels to me that we'll never meet him. He'll
What do
just be
you
a character.
what do you think the warden looks like, or his? How do you think he?
I haven't even. I mean, I know I haven't really even thought about that much because
know.
I
I
feel
just-
like they've purposely kind of left it.
Yeah, they
We
might
may find
introduce.
out.
They may introduce a warden in season 2
I
or
don't know.
season later on this season.
don't say that if you know it to be
I
true
know,
or
but
not.
I just can't. I know, but I just
You
don't
have to
imagine
watch
it.
this. Don't say anything if you know it to be true.
I don't think they will.
I think they will.
I don't know. Well, it's sort of like the Veep character. You never meet the president kind of thing. It's sort of like
Yeah.
that thing where it's like this big, over the top figure that you just
Right.
never get to know, and that's why these other people are there, like Figueroa and everything. So we always are wondering who this person is.
I think he's going to be very different from what I imagine.
I love how she told Healy, I think it was 2 episodes ago, how being a man is like winning the lotto and giving the winning ticket back.
Right.
She was
About
telling,
Sophia's.
uh,
I was talking about Sophia. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Poodle.
huh?
Wasn't she? Oh no, she was
She's
telling
like
Healy.
She was
Healy,
talking
whatever.
about
Yeah.
she was talking
The
about
medicine.
Brissette,
Yeah.
in that scenario. With,
It's like, why would she do that?
exactly.
Yeah. Which was interesting.
Which
you
was
know, from
interesting in her
So you could tell
perspective.
she
So she could tell
values-
she's
Yeah.
like, I think she's one of those assistants that exercises her authority by working obviously directly with the warden as power, more so than the warden really caring about some of those things.
Right.
That's how she exercises her control.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, like some of those assistants that are just kind of like, well, such and such isn't only going to do this. You have to do this and do that and do this. And the actual person who they work for is not even aware, probably doesn't care as much, or it's not even that serious. They're just trying to, they're power hungry. And she's definitely power hungry.
Right.
Oh,
Plus,
she
she
definitely is.
gets probably a lot of perks being in that position because the warden isn't around and she's the gatekeeper, so
Yeah.
you got to bribe her to get to the warden.
I think later she's gonna get exposed. That's a prediction, but I think later she's gonna get exposed as probably some of these budget cuts that they're having. She's probably doing some, what do you call it?
bribes? Are you saying?
You know, she's like
Right.
taking the money.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's there's a word. I can't even. I'm having a brain fart right now.
Extortion.
No, it's not. Is it extortion? No, extortion is like is
Stealing.
blackmail. She's basically stealing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's siphoning money and getting it through
that's a
the
good
budget
prediction.
cuts.
That's like a prediction. Yeah.
Because there's been these budget cuts, right?
Yeah.
So they don't have any of their perks, that the normal stuff that they would
No,
have in
there is,
prison.
but I just took it as that it's based on real life of things that are going on as far as the sequestration and the budget. So I mean, that's a very good observation because I didn't even go there. I didn't even go that deep. I was saying, oh, that's obvious because that's what's going on in the real world. The sequestration, the budget cuts, things are.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot more difficult to get those things that they used to be able to get, and they're.
Yeah, but it's just something's not right about her.
Right.
You know, something's not right. you
Something's
know.
corrupt.
Right. And the fact that, technically she is in charge because the warden's not there.
Yeah.
So I guess in the sense she does run the place. She could say stuff that's not technically true, or she could say, we never know because we don't see the warden. But I will say the whole prison poon thing was hilarious. And at first I was like, hold on, what is this picture? And she's concerned with, obviously, we don't want our prison to be put out there in public, like, somebody's got a cell phone here. What's going on in the
Right,
lich? So,
right.
I mean, I can understand that.
You know what's really funny? Go ahead.
How did they smuggle the cell phone in? I don't get it.
How they smuggle everything else in?
Through Red, but I'm sure Red wouldn't give a phone away if she got one.
Who knows?
That's the TBD.
Who
I'm
says she
like,
doesn't already have one?
Or
of her
it
own?
could have been Porn Stash. Might have been the one that smuggled it because he says in this episode that he pretty much berated Red for being his competition, and he goes through all her stuff and he messes the kitchen up.
Yeah.
When you see when he finds the toothbrushes, and he was like, I don't like people messing with my business.
Right.
And so he might have been the one to give what's her name, Diablo lover, the cell phone
Crazy girl.
Right. Because he says, they can't find it, and obviously there is either a guard with it or something. So somebody knows that it's there, and maybe he was the one, or maybe it was another guard that left. Who knows? Because in this episode we see that one of the guards is leaving, or was put on temporary permanent leave.
Yeah, I love that temporary permanent leave.
Right. So maybe it was that guard. Who knows?
Yeah, yet to be determined.
Yes.
That's so funny though, how we connect the dots. Like, oh my gosh, Diablo's real.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a guy, and that's who this girl's talking to.
And she looks crazy. Like you heard her
does.
talking in the stall. Like
Yeah.
she looked like
Right, you believe
spooky.
it. Right.
Yeah.
The eyebrows and all that, and the hair. Like you're like, whoa. Like
Yeah,
she
you
should
think
be in a
she's
psycho
totally
ward
crazy.
somewhere.
Exactly.
Right.
Like,
Going
oh my
all
goodness, talking to
natural.
the devil. It's like, oh, she's talking to the devil. Blah 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 blah.
She's smart though.
Yeah, she is
fooled
smart.
everybody.
She does fool everybody.
Thinking she's crazy while she's on the phone.
I was
Right.
like, Diablo's real.
Why? But I don't understand why anyone would call this phone. Why would you? This is a phone that needs to only go one way, and you shouldn't be calling in. And if you call in, why did you leave the vibrate on the phone? It should be on silent, completely
Yeah,
silent.
exactly.
So I just found that a little crazy. Like, oh, you trying to get this girl caught up? If it's Diablo calling or somebody else calling her,
Right.
like you ain't supposed to call the phone. It's a one-way phone. We make calls out.
Yeah.
Don't make calls in. Okay.
I did think it was dumb that the phone was left on with the
Right.
sound of the vibrate. I did. I was like, why would somebody do that when
Maybe
you're
it's an accident. Maybe she's getting too comfortable.
probably
Right.
Yeah,
You
a
gotta
little
get
too confident.
comfortable.
Right.
It's left on vibrate for a reason. Okay, so the red and blue dress, very symbolic of the whole WAC
Class.
election thing that's going to go on. Since you have all this infighting, like we talked about and mentioned earlier, he wants the Women Advisory Council to kind of work out their own problems and own issues. It's kind of just really a means to pacify them, to let them think they have choices, to think they're going to be voting for something.
And then for him not to have to deal with all the crap right now too, because he's just so over
Because he needs
it.
a break.
He's
Right.
over it.
Yeah, so
But I mean, we also hear that this apparently when they did this before, it wasn't a good idea.
right. And then when it was very telling when he said we're going to bring back the Women's Advisory Council. So what happened to the Women's Advisory Council the first time? That's what I wanted to know. So
Yeah.
why, if it didn't work before, or why was it
Right.
dismantled? Why don't we still have it?
I
Why
think
was
it's
it already-
based on his
when he feels like
feeling at the time.
Right.
It's like, okay, I'm done with you guys.
Yeah.
I've heard enough. We're not having this anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And now they're bugging him, so he's like, okay, stop.
Have it back.
Leave me alone for 48 hours. We're going to bring it back.
it. Right. So now you have who's running against people or each
It's
other?
Morello,
It's Morello
picked by
versus
Red.
versus Pennsatucky.
For the whites.
And Red is endorsing her.
Right.
Yeah.
For the blacks, we have
Sophia and Tasty.
Yes.
Tasty.
For the Golden Girls / others,
I love that.
we have
The Golden Girls /
Yang
others.
Wang. What's her last name? The little Asian lady.
Yeah, little Asian lady.
And nobody else apparently.
And then for the Latinas, it's Flocka versus Maritza.
Yes.
Maritza.
You were gonna do the song,
Which song?
the pizza.
The pizza.
What? I'm Maritza.
Vote for
if you vote for
Maritza.
Maritza, you'll get more pizza.
Yeah, that was a funny conversation. And then they had a little debate about whether it was Italian or not.
Right.
I was like, everyone likes pizza. It's American. No.
Yeah, and so this election is so funny because it's like so like the stereotypes come out severely.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
The writers really went in on the stereotypes, which is really funny because everybody, they're bringing out their own stereotypes. It's like, you have people that have stereotypes, and you're like, you know what? That's really kind of prejudiced or racist. You shouldn't have stereotypes. And then you go right back to that culture, and then they reinforce some of the stereotypes that other people have about them. So it's really just funny because it kind of goes both ways.
Right. Yeah.
You can't apply it to everybody. And at the same time, then there are those small groups within every tribe that reinforce the stereotypes.
Well, it was like the base stereotypes too. That's what we were saying. It's like it just went to the very base.
Right.
Simple.
Yeah, like Morello says that the Latinas, like, they have a lot of kids. They, you know, they're
10 people in one apartment.
Right. So she says that about the Latinas.
I was so done with all the stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, they were going in. I just like, I'm done.
I love the part where Alex is like, no, let her continue with the stereotypes.
Right. Like, this is very, you know, and she sits there and Morello, you ask the question if she represents the majority or minority. I think it's very obvious in this instance. She feels like she is in the majority and how she feels is correct.
Right.
She's like, yeah, of course. Don't you know? Like, that's how it is. There's a lot of Latinos that, you know, I grew up in that area. I think I would know this about these people. And then you see that, who is it? The Latinas talking about what the black people. They're like, yeah, black guys have big penises, but then they're lazy and they don't work.
They said man meat.
Oh yeah, trouser meat. Trouser meat.
That's what it was.
I love that.
And it just so happened that Maria is the one that said it, and she happens to be pregnant.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's pregnant. Right?
I guess she is, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's the one that's walking around. She's pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she says, oh, that trouser meat. Whoa. But they can't float because of their bone density. Their bone density can't
I know. I was like, oh my God.
Even they were like talking to each other like, oh, that's so stupid, whatever. Blah, blah, blah.
And then all Tasty wants is some real food.
Right.
That's true. But then Sophia wants
Yeah.
healthcare, obviously, because that's what.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
I'm sorry, I just think it's so funny. Like Sophia is like, serious. This is a real election. I'm gonna talk about healthcare.
Right.
Sophia's like, I need some food.
But they went with the whole basic thing too with the
Posey
whites and the what I was gonna say with the healthcare thing. And remember when Tasty went off and Poussey? Yeah, they were all talking about
Poussey.
Oh, yes. What was it like? Alex? I forget who it was they were saying and. You know, making all these white stereotype things.
Right.
Like, let's talk about it after our yoga and our wine tasting.
Right.
Quiet sex at 9 p.m.
Yeah, quiet sex at 9 p.m. every night.
And they made up some stereotypical like white names like
was it Amber
and something else and
Mallory or something like that.
No.
like Kelly something.
Yeah.
It was funny though.
It was hilarious.
Yeah,
though.
they went through that whole like little role play, and Porn Stash was like looking at him. He was like, his face. He was like looking at them like. Like, what are you guys doing?
Right.
That was really funny. So you have this election that's going on. Everybody is
campaigning,
They
so to
put
speak.
a lot of effort into making
They
the
did. I was
campaign.
very impressed.
Putting
True.
pins, you know,
and posters, the glitter, all the glue, and all the things they were putting together there.
It's just an activity. It's just something for them to
You
do.
don't have anything else to do, so it's kind of like, you know what? We're gonna have elections. We're gonna have fun. You know what? You're gonna make these little buttons, and we're gonna put tape on them and stick them on people. Like it gives them something to do. Very high schoolish. I think. You know.
Yeah, it was.
That's how it felt. Yeah.
Pennsatucky even had makeup and hair done.
Right.
Yeah.
She got her hair done for this.
So I think she thought it was a pageant show.
Right. I thought that was fun. I was like, her hair's curled. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, giving their little speeches to their little group.
Did she go to
ethnic groups, to the
Did she go to
tribes.
Sophia to do that?
Right. I don't know.
Maybe not for the election.
No.
Maybe not. She had did that in house.
Yeah, and I just thought it was really funny how they really did have their tribes. Like,
Right.
I mean, I guess that's one way to vote if you want to make sure there's an equal representation among races. You know, like, hey, we're just gonna vote along racial lines.
Right.
So there'll be a representative from every tribe. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can understand that.
And then you have the rap
The
battle.
wrap off, yes, that was
OMG.
So awesome.
wonderful. I know, I was just
My favorite part.
dying.
No, I actually like the dance off better.
Yeah.
I like the
Dance
dance
off
off too, but
love the
I
dance-off.
love the whole tasty rap, and you know when she was
How's it
going
go?
on. She's like an apple, it's nutritious. Like a Clinton, it's ambitious. And I don't remember the other lines after that.
That was good. That was good. A for effort. A for effort. Good job.
I like
With her blonde locks.
Yeah.
Crazy Eyes freaking Boo. That was my favorite.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. I'm like, Boo's on the bottom. Is it?
Yeah.
Can she be a bottom, or is it a bottom?
Well,
Do you say
Crazy
that when it comes to
little-
lesbians? I don't know. I don't know the terminology.
Crazy is a little dominant. And that fits.
yeah.
That was Boo though.
So
She's
it's
not
Boo.
crazy.
They're just both acting up though. They're just both wilding out
Right.
and acting a fool. I liked when Boo was picking up the old lady though. That was funny to me.
That was.
Because I was like, oh, she's gonna drop her. She's gonna drop. Don't pick up the old lady.
I
Don't do
liked
it.
when Boo was twerking when she took her shirt off.
Yeah.
Right.
Twerking. All right. Give Miley Cyrus a run for her money.
Right. And then Healy comes in the midst of all the action.
I thought he was about to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
done.
It was like meltdown central.
Right.
It was like, oh.
I was trying to
what
look
the-
for Piper in the crowd.
That's when she was in the bathroom, right?
I was like, I hope she's not in there.
Was she in the bathroom on that?
Yeah, because you remember she left. She was so excited, like it's so quiet in here, like nobody's here. She's going through the whole place, and that's when she's able to just take a nice crap on the toilet.
She had the empty stall. She was
Right.
very excited.
She finds this phone. So crazy.
She should have taken a picture, sent it to Alex. I mean, send it to Larry.
I thought about it. You got to be careful though, because you got to erase the picture. When you erase stuff, technically, it's never really gone anywhere. It's just quote unquote deleted on your phone. But there are ways that you can retrieve that
yeah.
information, so it's never really gone.
Yeah.
And so that's very, you got to be careful because
Is
if anybody
that-
ever finds out that she,
Is that on an iPhone or is that on the old?
No, this
No, I
is
think it's anything, any
any device.
software.
any
I mean,
device.
a laptop,
yeah, it's like-
anything.
It's
never,
always somewhere else. You always have to think like even
Right.
if it's deleted, it's still out there
you
somewhere.
can still
Well, yeah.
recover it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying she's got to be careful if she does send these pictures. And when she tells Larry, he's like, "Hold on, wait a minute. There's
Yeah,
something."
you've got access to a phone.
Right. Hold on. You said
Doing something here.
Got to be careful.
I mean, they would have to do a search. Like how are they gonna ever be able to find out whose poon is on the
True,
the
right? No, but you
phone,
can always look at
I
the
love it,
call
like you have to do a
history. So
search.
obviously you have to erase the call history or the
Like a
text
physical search.
message history or whatever. And clearly she left the picture still on there.
Right.
So you can actually probably go back through and see, well, where has this phone sent messages to?
Exactly, and then they can
Or
figure it
received
out.
messages
Figure out from there. Yeah.
So
A lot of investigative work.
Yes.
we got the results of the election, didn't we?
We did.
We did.
Which, by the way, I love those PA announcements throughout every episode. Like every single episode,
always
they're
look for them.
hilarious. I mean, they just are so crazy.
And have that like morning inspiration, but it's so monotone.
I thought
Today's a
Piper was
new
gonna get
day.
jumped. Like I was
I did.
waiting for
Morella's
her.
gonna kick her behind, yo. Morella was so happy. She was so excited. Red was holding on to her. Gonna win. That was
Even Red looked at her like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, what did you do?
Oh.
because it's obviously something with that kind of pull when Red is the one who's supposed to be in charge of
Right.
that scenario.
Yeah.
Obviously, trumps her power,
Yeah.
and that's challenging to Red's authority.
Yeah.
So indirectly.
Yeah. And the thing is, we heard the real results obviously
Right.
before.
Yeah.
And we know what happened, and I thought that was great too. Like all the, how many went to Jesus, and like 28 went to Jesus. And,
Right.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, all the.
Hold on, who won for the
few.
Latinas?
Maria.
Was it?
No. Maria didn't win for the. She wasn't running.
No.
She wasn't running.
I'm trying to remember who it was because
I'm
I
saying
did the
who
same thing.
really won for
Oh,
the
who really won? I'm not
Latinas? Was it
sure.
Marita or was it what's her name?
Flocka.
Yeah.
Flocka, no,
I'm not
God,
sure.
I don't remember. I know
Maybe
because
it
it
was
was.
Flocka.
But yeah, it is. No.
I think Flocka did win. Not.
No, I think
Maritza.
it was Maritza who really won.
Really? Okay.
I think Maritza
I'll
really
have to go
won.
back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, guys. Tell us
Yeah.
who won between Maritza and Flocka. I think Maritza won, though.
Okay.
And then they just gave it to Maria.
Yeah, and then of course, Tasty's in good with Healy.
Right.
It's her homie, so of
Yeah,
course
after
she
getting her
wins.
TV control access and all that.
She's wild.
Although she has an interesting TV taste.
She does.
I wasn't expecting that from her.
What did you think it was gonna be?
I don't know. I was just
That
thinking
BT?
she was gonna. No, I was just thinking she'd be watching the
Go
trashy.
ahead.
No,
Go
I was
ahead and
thinking
vote
she.
along those racial
No,
lines and say
I
BT.
was gonna say she was gonna be watching the trashy like TV shows. Something like that. Like I wasn't expecting her to be all. Let's
Food
watch the
Network.
nature, wildlife.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Like
I can't
Planet.
take any more
not
of this
picturing that.
toddlers and tiaras. It's nasty. Wow, really?
Even
Her
if their
eyes-
dresses are on point.
Even if their dresses,
Yeah,
do
even
be
though
on
dresses
point.
do be on point.
Do
That
be
was
on
great.
point.
Mhm.
Yes. Oh, why does what's his name? Caputo call Healy Samantha, by the way.
I know that was like I thought it was just a way of being able to.
Healy calls Caputo Samantha.
No, Caputo calls
Sam.
calls Healy Samantha a couple times in this
Yeah.
episode. And I thought it was just a way of like tearing him down and like by giving him that.
I feel like it has something to do with his whole, I hate lesbians thing.
Probably.
It has something to do with that. I don't know.
I just felt like
think
it was a
it
way
does.
of definitely tearing him down like by giving him a
Making
feminine
fun of
name.
him.
Yeah, it's sort of like, oh, you're not masculine and you're not in control and
Yeah,
as a negative connotation by calling him that.
basically.
Yeah.
We didn't cover the Polly call. She's finally taking calls.
She wasn't
from
taking her
Piper.
calls after the whole
Chicken
incident.
She's emotional. She's
Yeah, she's-
getting checked up.
I wouldn't have taken Piper's calls either. That's what you get.
She's upset. She has a right to be.
But now she
has more
put her-
important things to think about. She is about to have a baby.
Right.
So you
yeah.
have to
But shows how good of a friend she is. I mean, from seeing Alex and trying to help her through that when they were first together, and now being her friend still and saying, "Okay, I'm not mad at you anymore. I still love you." Like I love their relationship, their friendship.
I feel like they
too.
have a one-sided relationship.
Why?
I just feel like Polly's probably the solid one, and Piper is probably the taker.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I took it as
That's how I feel.
Yeah, I can see that, but I think it was.
Yeah, I think just Piper is just
Back
the
and
more
forth.
free spirit.
Yeah,
We
that's what I was
will
gonna say.
see.
The more of the. All
Quickly,
right.
do you have any news and gossip?
Hold on, we also have to talk one more thing. Daya and Bennett. Daya and Bennett.
Okay, quickly. 30 seconds.
He
So
has a prosthetic leg, we find, and that she says she really likes him because he's different. I don't know if that's true.
Remember how I was saying that they make a great couple because both of them have
Yeah.
insecurities, and she likes the fact that he's not going to look at any other girl like Caesar, who could get anyone that he wants
Yeah.
basically by manipulating them with money, and he's not a bad-looking guy. I mean, he's not gorgeous, but
Yeah.
so it's a way for her to trap Bennett. Like when girls want their man to be fat, so he doesn't look at other girls, or other girls aren't
Crazy.
attracted to him. So I think it's that insecurity.
Interesting.
Yep.
Piper wins the election. Woo.
Woohoo!
Piper for president. Okay. So, do you have any news and gossip?
Yes, we do.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So with Orange is the New Black being a Netflix show, it's really hard to stay relevant during your hiatus because basically all 13 episodes come out and
Yes.
then there's months and months and months that go by before the next season comes out. So one of the things that they've decided to do is kind of pick up their social media. And one of the things they're doing in social media is called visiting hours. So if you are following Orange is the New
Brilliant.
Black on Twitter, and their Twitter handle is OITNB, Orange is the New Black, you can see that when they'll have different visiting hours from the Lich, which is basically you get to open up and ask questions to certain actors and actresses on the show. So just
Right.
look and see who your favorite actor or actresses, see when their visiting hours are, and then you just send them the question with hashtag #AskOrange. In addition to that, they're also having something until August 24th, which is the Tasty Twist, hashtag Tasty Twist, and you just send your video on Instagram or Vine with that hashtag and show them your best twist. You know how Tasty does the twist.
Right.
Sorry,
Right.
that's all I got for
That's all you can do in the chair here.
I think you should do it.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yes, Scott, you should send a video in hashtag Tasty Twist.
Keep doing much
Till
better than
August
that.
24th. That's all.
Okay.
That's great. That's great.
So, let's go to
And now,
predictions.
your AfterBuzz
Quickly.
TV predictions.
I have a prediction that Daya is gonna have relations with porn stash because I read it in an article.
Oh, I don't want that to be
Spoiler.
true either, though. It's so
Spoiler. Wow,
upsetting. It's so obvious, but there's going to be the shit storms brewing, a hurricane's making landfall with this whole, Piper winning, and it's just going to cause her a whole lot of problems in episode 7, and I'm worried for her already. Nervous.
All right, so where can we find you guys till next time?
Always find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream. And don't forget to go to serialbuddies.com and download the movie.
That's right, and that's cereal with an S.
Yes, Adventures of Serial Buddies. Yes.
And you can find me on Twitter at sman80. That's SMAN80. And here tonight, finale, True Blood.
You guys find me on Twitter and Instagram at Real Emma K.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Club Thaddeus. Until next time, after Buzzers.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.